Check it out. The BrewBuilt X2 Jacketed Conical Fermenter. Hey, I'm Dan, this is Hops and Gnarly, and today I'm getting my new BrewBuilt X2 Jacketed Conical Fermenter ready for brew day. At the end of the video, I'll share my initial thoughts and some things you need to know before you buy the BrewBuilt X2 Jacketed Conical Fermenter. First things first, let's get it out of the box. So this top lid attachment method is, I think, the same one that's on the Blickman tank. Yeah, this is definitely the same one that's on the Blickman tank. Let's see. Right away, 4 legs, definitely a positive. It feels nice. It's not the heaviest I've ever felt, but it feels nice. All right, so let's take a closer look at the ports that are on this thing. Starting from the bottom, we have a 2-inch tri-clamp port for dumping trub, yeast, and hops. Above that is a 1.5-inch tri-clamp port, probably for packaging. And above that, there are 2 more 1.5-inch tri-clamp ports for accessories. On the side of the tank, there are 2 1.5-inch tri-clamp ports for the glycol jacket, and on the lid, we have even more tri-clamp ports, 2 1.5-inch and 1 4-inch. Included with the fermenter, you also get this hardware pack. That's kind of different. Looks like a sampling valve, but it's just a little different than the other ones that I've seen. Looks like we got beer coming out of here and nice little handle on there. That's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see that. There's a really big burr in there. Huge chunk of metal. I have to get something in there and clean that up a little bit, but it looks pretty rough around the lip of this right here. Other than that, kind of a cool sampling valve. Whew. Now that right there, my friends, is a butterfly valve. That is beefy in all the right places. Small handle, probably to fit between the 4 legs, but beefy little 2-inch butterfly valve there. All told, this thing came with a 2-inch butterfly valve with a gasket and clamp, a sampling valve, a thermo well, 3 1.5-inch tri-clamp caps, 5 1.5-inch tri-clamp gaskets and clamps, a 4-inch tri-clamp cap with a gasket and clamp, and 4 feet for the legs. And everything except the feet is getting a nice hot soak in brewery wash. Now, to be clear, this fermenter was sent to me by More Beer, but that's not all they sent. For accessories, I also have the neoprene jacket to add a little insulation and protect the stainless. I have the pressure pack to add a gas in and liquid out with floating dip tube, and I have the flex chamber for harvesting yeast. And that's just the beginning of what you can add to a tank like this. With all those tri-clamp ports, I can add all kinds of tools to support my goals as a brewer. While all the parts soak, let's turn our attention to the lid. Those stickers definitely gotta go. Alright, cool. The lid is looking good, and now I can start assembling the fermenter. Okay, that makes more sense. Let's see. So there's a nice little channel in here where this is gonna seat, and it looks like it's flat, so I'm gonna put the flat side down. And it's a snug fit. This is feeling a little bit too big for the lid. Part of me wishes this was actually sealed in there. I guess at that point it'd be hard to clean, so it has to be removable. Just kind of a pain in the butt. And I think that goes back to just the way that this lid seals just in general. We'll see in just a second. The clamp is not my favorite. With this style of clamp, you can barely see it here, but you pull this back, you can kind of slip it over there, and that way you don't have to tighten it down for days. All right. And even still, I mean, that was a lot of tightening. Takes a while. But once you get it on there, it is on there. And just like that, we are cleaning. I have a CIP ball hooked up to one of the 1.5-inch tri-clamp ports in the lid, and I'm recirculating from the bottom of the fermenter with my Blickman Riptide pump. The whole point of this is I need to remove any oils or residue from the surface of the stainless steel before I can use it to make beer. It's also a good idea to passivate the stainless using an acid-based sanitizer like Star San mixed to an extra high strength. So instead of mixing it 1 ounce per 5 gallons, I go with about 1 ounce per gallon. After all that cleaning, this is how I'm setting things up for my first batch. On the bottom of the fermenter, I'm using the included butterfly valve, but I've added a 90-degree elbow to get it out from underneath the tank. Above that, I added a rotating dip tube and butterfly valve for packaging. And at the top of the cone, I'm using the included sampling valve and thermo well. On the lid, I've capped one of the tri-clamp ports. I'm using the pressure pack lid in the center, and I've added another butterfly valve on the other port to open and close the blow-off arm. With this setup, I can close off the blow-off arm toward the end of fermentation and start building pressure for carbonation. All I need to add is a spunding valve like this one. And we haven't even talked about the glycol jacket. I'm still waiting on some parts, but I'll be connecting the glycol jacket to my glycol chiller using quick disconnects and some insulated glycol lines. Now that I've gone over what's included with the fermenter and how I'd like to set it up, here are my initial thoughts. By far, the coolest thing about this fermenter is the glycol jacket, and it's one of only a handful of homebrew-sized jacketed fermenters. Jackets outperform coils on just about every metric, so if you want optimal insulation and cooling, this is definitely the way to go. Second, the quality and finish of the fermenter itself is outstanding. This is some seriously shiny stainless steel, and it will certainly withstand the test of time. However, some of the components included with the fermenter aren't quite as nice, and we saw that during the unboxing. And that brings me to my only real criticism of this fermenter. The included parts are just kind of weird. You only get one butterfly valve, and it's a 2-inch, so it has to go on the very bottom. That means to transfer beer, you either have to use the sampling valve or spend extra money to get the pressure kit or additional butterfly valves. And floating dip tubes are great when you don't have other ports to draw from, but I don't quite understand why you'd want to use a floating dip tube on a unitank that has all these tri-clamp ports. The good news is that BrewBuilt has all the accessories you'd need to set this up in a more logical way, but all those extra costs might just blow your budget. Big thanks to More Beer for sending this out. This is a super capable tank, and I can't wait to see what it can do. My name's Dan, this is Hops and Gnarly. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you again soon.